Hi, I'm Torte Lini. Here's the meta news report for patch 7.36b. As mentioned before, all my hero guides are updated again for the 377th time with 2062 changes, one of the largest changes of all time for the guides. Anyways, let's check in on the meta weather for the top position 5 support heroes to play so far in patch 7.36b. These recommendations are based on my expertise as well as the statistics from Dota2ProTracker.com. Common theme you'll see with this patch's popular position 5 supports is how great their laning stage aggression can be and how strong their mid-game team fighting skills influence the outcome. Venomancer is a perfect example of a good position 5 support. Since 7.36, the developers have moved Venomancer's passive, Poison Sting, to be an innate ability. So at the start of a match, Venomancer starts with a free 3% auto attack slow of Poison Sting, which is almost equal to an Over Venom, on top of an early level in Venomous Gale. With the popularity of heroes like Ursa or Weaver, who like to force fights at around level 2 or 3 with their Urshock or Shikuchi Skitter Step slow, and having a point in the Swarm, you can actually secure some pretty strong leads and safety for the lane right from the get-go with just a couple kills. Don't forget that Venomancer is a universal attribute hero, so he still hits hard, and that only gets better as he picks up more stats. Venomancer's synergy doesn't stop there though. His facet, Patient Zero, is an absolute menace in teamfights because your ultimate does such strong damage and scales over time as hero's health is massively increased. Some people are going to argue that his facet, Plague Carrier, is really good, and yeah, I'd be inclined to agree, but Patient Zero is actually too good to ignore and much more applicable for Venomancer's role throughout all stages of the game, when Plague Carrier kind of falls off relatively fast as the Plague Ward's damage becomes negligible and the slow not as pervasive as you think. Don't forget that the Noxious Plague also deals maximum HP percentage as damage, so it has amazing scaling potential against this meta of long-lasting enemy core heroes like Lifestealer, Centaur, Tiny, etc. Lastly, Venomancer is still a great farmer, and that's why his item build has so many large items, because the rate at which Venomancer farms far exceeds most other position 5 supports, all thanks to his Plague Wards. So flash farming jungle camps by doing drive-bys is totally doable. This rapid farming technique means that Venomancer can pick up key teamfight items for those mid to late game opportunities when your team starts grouping up. Items like Guardian Greaves, Pipe of Insight, and Force Staff are really good here. Whether at the position 4 or 5 support, Dark Willow is a fantastic laner and again can easily set up kills both in the laning stage and post level 6, where her Bedlam can be attached to popular ganking offlaners like Axe or Centaur, or even safe laners like Ursa and Chaos Knight who can catch and keep enemies close for the Bedlam to do its damage. That's nothing new, to be honest. It's her innate ability, Pixie Dust, that is just wild, as it helps alleviate a lot of her mana problems in the early game by amplifying your mana and health regeneration when using Shadow Realm. This Pixie Dust means that going Arcane Boots on Dark Willow is a thing of the past, and it enhances one of your core items, Yule's Scepter, for a bit more value during Shadow Realm usage. The other big change for Dark Willow is her facet, Thorny Thicket, which widens your AoE on Bramble Maze with more brambles to ensnare enemies. Other than that, Dark Willow is still pretty much the same as before. She loves to max out Shadow Realm for great damage. She goes Ag Shard after Tranquil Boots, and Yules to be able to combo enemies by throwing down a Cursed Crown on a target, Yuling them while the Cursed Crown counts down, and then they're stunned with brambles, preventing them from leaving without taking some damage with them. She's still a great team fighter with Terrorize, either a great way to stall enemy initiators or as a follow-up to your initiations, like with popular offlaners like Darkseer or Enigma. In terms of changes, I added in Null Talisman, which gives you a lot more regen thanks to your Pixie Dust innate ability, as well as bringing back Tranquil Boots so you can focus on your positioning to land your Terrorize, Bedlam, or proper area effect for your Bramble Maze. Next up is one of the most annoying heroes I can think of, Clockwerk. In 7.36, they changed power cogs, so they're no longer destroyed when Clockwerk attacks them, but now bounce around like dodgeballs. If you're an offlaner and you see Clockwerk, run for your life. With his new expanded armature facet, it has never been this easy to trap enemies inside your cogs and then proceed to bully them like high school gym class with a bunch of power cog balls. You better kiss your mana goodbye, because honestly you are never going to see the color blue ever again. So the hero has essentially two key goals in the lane. 1. Deny the enemy offlaner from having any mana so they can't go for any early game kills against the carry, and 2. Run down against position 4 supports with Battery Assault to rebuff their advances and harassment. What's great is both of those abilities also work with setting up kills for your teammates, Chaos Knight or Weaver for example, whether it's to follow up on your barrage of attacks and Battery Assault damage, or take advantage of your Paracog's teasing to tear down the enemy offlaners. This little guy actually achieves both goals so well, and by level 6 he becomes an incredible long range ganker with his ultimate hookshot. He's honestly just an incredible support hero that sets up great early game value for your lane and your team going into the mid game. He has a pretty versatile item build where you can build Drum of Endurance, Solar Crest, Blade Mail, Force Staff, really whatever you want. Evidently Ag Scepter and Ag Shard are still popular pickups for the hero, just like in the previous patches, and the innate ability Armored Power is a nice touch to help with his damage scaling, but to be honest, it's kind of negligible at best. In terms of guide changes, I changed up his skill build and talents and threw an Eternal Shroud for a late game option. Hey, by the way, if you love my Dota guides, please like and subscribe. Consider becoming a member on my YouTube channel or subscribe on Twitch. Your support keeps the in-game guides alive, and I would sincerely appreciate it. Thanks. If you watched my video last week about Witch Doctor, then you already know what I'm going to say. Abuse this hero while it's still good, and make sure you pick up the facet Voodoo Festoration. It's a facet that honestly does not make any sense for 4 main reasons. 1. At max level, Voodoo Festoration does the equivalent of a Radiance, but with 150 more radius, and if you max Voodoo Festoration, it comes online earlier than a Radiance. 2. Voodoo Festoration still heals Witch Doctor, so during the laning stage when enemies try to fight you, you're both healing yourself, dealing damage in an AoE they cannot usually escape quickly from, and combined with Maledict, it's a consistent level of damage where Maledict bursts into more damage. So throughout the laning stage, you are unbearable to offlaners, and that's not even including what your ally carry can do. Number 3, Voodoo Festoration means Witch Doctor farms incredibly quickly, much faster than if you use Paralyzing Cask, and much more since you can stack jungle camps and just farm with it thanks to Voodoo Festoration. This means that Witch Doctor can pick up some incredibly expensive items like Guardian Greaves, Pipe of Insight, Bloodstone, even Crimson Guard for God's sake. This alleviates any pressure from your cores to pick up those items and ultimately gives Witch Doctor a near core-like responsibility since he can stay near fights, provide a ton of aura, and do damage with minimal risk. And lastly, the mana cost for Voodoo Festoration hurts early on, but once you get an Arcane boost and your level 10 talent, which reduces your mana cost by 25%, you will find that the mana cost is honestly fairly minimal for what is massive value and output during a match. To add, you can even grab a Cayenne Sange, which reduces your mana cost by 25% more, and it also provides you with further healing and spell amplification. All in all, this hero is abusive from start to finish and is feared even at the highest level. If you haven't tried this build out, I recommend you do before they nerf it next patch. I've adjusted the guide to revolve around this playstyle, including his talents, skill build, and itemization. Check out my dedicated video about it from last week. Treant Protector is another great safe laning hero that was good in 7.35 despite being nerfed. In 7.36, they moved his Nature's Guise to be his innate ability, but what is really appreciated is his new facet, Sapling, where it can be thrown down on the ground to heal allies and hurt enemies. Now it doesn't slow in that area, but that range in which it affects heroes is fairly significant and gives Treant Protector more options during team fights without having to risk himself getting near an enemy to be able to pull off his Leech Seed cast. That was ultimately the challenge with Treant Protector, where his early game and mid game ganks were fantastic, but when it came to team fights, he was just not up to snuff compared to some other heroes on this list. Sapling Facet relieves Treant Protector from some awkward engagements in exchange for a Leech Seed that doesn't slow but damages all enemies and heals allies within range. What makes Treant Protector still so good is that he is both great sustain in the lane with Leech Seed, but also aggressive with his ability to achieve Nature's Guise movement speed when casting Nature's Grasp and his strong right-click power. Again, like most of everyone else on this list, he still sets up for fights very early with 2 strong ranged slows with gap closing bonus movement and a hard hitting attack. So in short, the hero hasn't really changed that much. He's just befitting to the laning meta and provides huge value. Not to mention that the hero farms also decently well with stacked jungle camps and Nature's Grasp, allowing him to pick up a Blink Dagger and Ag Shard. You can reverse that order if you want, but honestly grabbing an early Blink Dagger means that you can gank comfortably with an initiating Leech Seed into a well-positioned Nature's Grasp to then use Overgrowth if your team still can't finish the enemy off. In terms of honorable mentions, I think Phoenix is just an absolute annoyance. What makes Phoenix so annoying is the innate ability, Blinding Sun, that causes a 2% miss chance that stacks indefinitely. So in team fights, you can see yourself having up to 30% or more miss chance as Phoenix lands Sunray on your entire team, then follows that up with a Supernova, and that continues that Blinding Sun innate ability. This also really amps up the success rate of Supernova stunning the team, and it means your follow through is all the more potent. Winter Wyvern has become a lot easier and valuable since 7.36, while Arctic Burn is still your laning stage harassment and setup for any potential kills. It's the facet essence of the Blue Heart that makes Cold Embrace worth maxing out second after Splinter Blast, as it really does give a nice healthy portion of mana on top of the heal. I think what she really has going for her is the fact that Splinter Blast is way easier to land now that you can target allies with it, so perfect for chases and ganks, as well as her ultimate now guaranteeing a minimum of 2 seconds and up to 7 seconds at max level. Her ultimate is especially emphasized because teams are now fighting pretty clumped up with today's meta heroes fighting relatively in close range, and that makes her Winter's Curse all the more appreciated, whether used in line with a Darkseer's vacuum combo, or how about to cancel out and reverse an enemy's Enigma's black hole, since it does go through BKB. Finally, Pudge. I usually would never advocate for a Pudge as a support, maybe as an offlaner or an offlane position 4, just because people tend to play him so wrong, but it's hard to deny how much damage the Flare's Hook does since it's been buffed in the recent patch. That's it. There's really nothing more except Flare's Hook is bonkers. That's it for me. I'm Torte Lini. Stay tuned this week for more top 5s for position 4 and mid lane. Also, I'm on Twitch, continuing to test all your favorite builds every day. Hero build changes are not final and will be evolving as the meta develops. Check in game for the latest versions, and don't forget to support me by subscribing, liking, giving me all that shit money. Bye.